time with us. Slotkin through insurrectionists. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Now, it's official. Other than maybe John Fetterman, there are no serious people left in today's Democratic Party. Only those who are so obsessed still with ousting Trump that they'll risk burning down our entire constitutional system to do it.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now. Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk. This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens. Like us, you all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home. Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders. Your vigilance is critical.
Know that we have your back. Don't give up the ship.
Now, let's be clear. They're playing games with one of the gravest outcomes for our country. A military uprising or coup against a duly elected president. Of course, being the frauds that they are, many of these same Democrats and others have accused Trump of doing exactly what they're tiptoeing toward right now.
Donald Trump does not back the blue. He backs the coup.
The president incited an insurrection. There was an attempted political coup organized by the president of the United States.
January 6th was the culmination of an attempted coup.
An element of the Republican Party believes
their political viability hinges on the endorsement of an attempted coup.
And Senator Slotkin, who thinks a lot of herself, tried to justify turning the military against the White House with a series of empty left-wing talking points.
Trump is following the same playbook as almost every authoritarian in history. And from everything we've seen so far, Caribbean strikes, domestic terrorists, military and law enforcement deployments across our American streets, he seems to be laying the groundwork to stay in power.
Elections, therefore, could be canceled, or if they happen, he could surround polling places with military and federal law enforcement to intimidate voters. Trump could use the IRS to make it impossible for Democrats to fundraise.
First, these are all lies, every last one of them. Second, even if they weren't lies, the proper remedies for Congress to challenge the president's decision-making is either through the courts, and they're certainly doing that, impeachment, and they'll try that again, or the ballot box. Better luck next time. But Alyssa and Mark are writing their own rules and playing a very dangerous game here. There are two things that are true here. Number one, the president has no constitutional authority to use the military as his own personal army to rule the country and to then stay in power. And number two, the army must obey the legitimate commands of the civilian commander-in-chief elected by the American people. Now, members of the armed forces are not policymakers. They don't make decisions in the moment about whether they like an order or whether they think it's legal. It's just not how it works. And it's a fact that General Mark Milley seemed to have forgotten when he reached out to reassure the Chinese, remember back in October of 2020, about what would happen after the election. He tried to explain himself to Congress.
With respect to the Chinese calls, my task at that time was to de-escalate. My message again was consistent. Stay calm, steady, and de-escalate. We are not going to attack you.
A lot of white rage there. Well, encouraging the military to think of itself basically as an independent force, not constrained by civilian rule, the president, that's tantamount to encouraging an insurrection. The fact that Democrats can so cavalierly encourage military members to actively defy their commander-in-chief, that just demonstrates that they're either too stupid to know they're encouraging rebellion, or they're actively trying to encourage rebellion. And that's blood in the streets. And who then controls the nukes, by the way? This woman? Now, if any member of Congress believes that the military should regard and disregard an order from President Trump, well, either now or they should have in the past disregarded an order from President Trump, then that member of Congress needs to come on television, this show or another, and cite the statute or the constitutional provision that has been violated. If they cannot or will not do that in any convincing manner, then they're playing with fire and putting our entire constitutional system at risk. And it's all being done simply to score a few political points. Now, of course, Slotkin is getting huge blowback and answered her critics on X, saying this is the law passed down from our founding fathers to ensure our military upholds its oath to the Constitution, not a king. This is a hateful woman who's only out for her own political brand. Last spring, her bitterness about a second Trump term was on display for all to see.
We're about to turn 250 years old, right? We're still pretty young for a country. These are our like our angry teenage years, right? We are going through this push and pull where we're happy, we're sad, we want this, we want that. And what do you do when you have a teenager who's threatening themselves and others? You just try to get them through this period alive so that their brain can fully form.
I wonder if she practices being that self-righteous and condescending. Does she practice that every day or in front of a mirror? I hope not. Now, this military uprising idea is just another bad act by bad actors and a bad play. Their lines are stale and they're unconvincing. Again, the real threats to democracy are in their party, nudging us toward this military coup, their opposition to voter ID, universal mail-in ballots, of course, vulnerable to fraud, trying to strip Trump's name off the ballot, by the way, defeated unanimously by the Supreme Court. And naturally, Slotkin got that one wrong as well.
Would you be comfortable with a court, not voters, with a court making that decision?
Colorado obviously knew what they were doing when they put this case together. They're trying to push to have this metered out in federal court, and now it will be. It makes sense. Frankly, in Colorado, we've got similar cases going on here in Michigan and other states to let the courts meter this out.
Meter this? I don't know what she's talking about. They got goose-egged at the court, sweetheart. Now, these people are shameless. No wonder their members think that they can do anything, any undemocratic act with impunity. And that was what hard-left Congressman Chuy Garcia must have thought when he received a vote of disapproval after his sleazy move to bypass the voters to slip in his chief of staff to replace him. It was another anti-democratic move by the defenders of democracy. So these are unserious, dangerous people. They care about one thing, raw power. They will do anything, say anything to convince you in the midterms and the next presidential election to trust them again. Don't. And that's the angle.
The Wall Street Journal editorial board is calling it the art of the deal with Saudi Arabia. It says, quote, what will the U.S. get from MBS's, that is Mohammed bin Salman's, trip so far? The answer is cash money. A strengthened U.S.-Saudi relationship is good news. From China and Israel to Yemen and Iran, there's much the Saudis can do for America. That's the end of the quote. Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee, member of the Judiciary and Finance Committees, and she's also a candidate for Tennessee governor. We welcome her into the focus. Thanks for being with me. First of all, how critical is this deal? And we want to put a fine focus on American families in this investment.
Yes, indeed. And when we talk about jobs growth and higher paying jobs, Harris, this is a part of that, a $1 trillion investment, and choosing to be a partner, whether it's economically or in the region, a partner with the United States. Those are tremendous steps for our nation. It is a win for President Donald Trump and his administration, and we look forward to hearing more, learning more about the specifics.
Well, and there has been some talk. The president brought it up. We don't know what it will look like or if it will happen. But the welcome that we covered here on the Faulkner Focus yesterday, Senator, was as warm as the president got in the Middle East. And so would the Saudis consider joining the Abraham Accords? We don't know. But does this warm up that process, knowing that they're investing so much in America?
Harris, it does warm up that process. And I think even beyond that, it shows that the entire region is realizing the impact and the importance of President Trump's leadership. the way he has worked with partners in the region and the way he is working to create more partners in the region. I think that is significant. When you look at how the U.S. and President Trump and his administration have worked with Israel, this sends a message. And many times I use the word team as an acronym. It's something my mom always did. Together, everyone achieves more. And you have participants in that region, nations in that region, who are looking to President Trump, recognizing that leadership and wanting to be a part of prosperity and peace in the region.
I wrote down in my notes, Senator Blackburn's sweet mother was an influencer early on. That's critical to winning that kind of team intelligence that you're talking about. Well, let me get to this. Right now, there's more alarming and even shocking details coming out about the FBI's investigation into Thomas Crook's attempted assassination of President Trump. 2 congressmen involved in the House investigation say the FBI stonewalled their probe from the very beginning. And that includes not sharing any files about Thomas Crook's reportedly disturbing social media posts where he repeatedly called for political violence. His reported online presence includes this video of him pretending to fire a handgun. And he posted also about being strongly pro-Trump to extremely anti-Trump. Here's White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
Those questions are definitely deserving of answers, and I understand why the public wants those answers. I believe the president does too. And so whether it's a good question, and it's one I'd like to see the answer to, and I think all Americans would.
The New York Post editorial board is arguing America needs a fresh investigation of would-be assassin Thomas Crooks and the FBI's bungled first probe. Are you shocked that we wouldn't get a better look into a man suspected of trying to kill the president?
It is stunning that the FBI withheld this information. And Harris, as you remember, Christopher Wray, then the Biden FBI director, came before us, a little bit of a truncated hearing, and said there was nothing remarkable about Thomas Crooks and his online presence. We know that there is a very deep state in DOJ and FBI. We know they were weaponized against President Trump, against Senate members, against conservatives. We know now that they have withheld this information. It is absolutely disgusting. Does this need to be reopened? You better believe it needs to be reopened. Do we need answers on all of this? Absolutely we do. Does the president deserve answers? Absolutely he does. The American people deserve answers, and we are not going to stop until we break this deep state apart.
Well, that is good to hear, because there have been 2 attempts on his life so far. And it's disgusting to think that if there was a chance to know more about this, that it wouldn't. All right, well, critics are going after 6 Democrat lawmakers in particular over this plea to members of the military and intelligence communities. Watch this.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens. Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law or our Constitution.
We know this is hard.
Okay, you caught that, right? Refusing military orders. That would be treason. Reaction, as you might imagine, swift and fierce. Liz of TikTok posted, Democrats are encouraging members of the military to commit treason and defy orders from Trump. And Republican Senator Eric Schmidt says, sounds a little subversive to democracy-ish. Your thoughts on this?
Well, indeed, I think that Secretary Hexteth was right. They have stage 4 Trump derangement syndrome. And it is inconceivable that you would have elected officials that are saying to uniformed members of the military who have taken an oath to protect and defend that they would defy the orders that they have been given to execute their mission. I find it inconceivable, but that is what they have chosen to do, and we will see what the response to them from Democrats. You know, Harris, I talk to Tennesseans every day. I did a telephone town hall last night. People want to see respect for the rule of law. They are appreciative of our nation's military and of the work they do to protect our nation. And I find this just so disturbing that they would say, defy the orders if you do not like the orders.
I don't think they consider the slippery slope of what that does to an already unpopular Congress. We know that all of Congress doesn't ride high in the percentages of popularity, and this takes away the trust. I mean, that is, it's untenable. Senator, I'm always glad when you're in focus. Thank you very much.
Happy to join me. Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kayleigh McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.
The Police Commissioner of Boston. You said you doubled down on not helping the law enforcement officers of ICE. I'm coming to Boston. I'm bringing hell with me.
It's a promise made, promise kept. A month after that promise, Borders Our Time Home and announced a multi-agency operation in Boston that arrested nearly 400 illegal immigrants, a majority of them criminal migrants. This, as a local news investigation, revealed that multiple illegals were rounded up by ICE, were charged with, and you just look at it, you got 3 counts of child rape. You got aggravated child rape of a victim under the age of 9. Then you look right here, assault to rape and a mass armed robbery. This person was released on 0 bail. Then you got 2 illegal aliens charged with child rape. They released $500 each. And then finally, 2 illegal aliens charged with cocaine and fentanyl trafficking, released on $504,000.
Hey, up there, bro.
When it comes to the bail. Let's bring in the big man himself, Borzar, Tom Homan. Tom, tell me exactly what's happening on the ground. How were you able to accomplish this?
Well, look, we're keeping President Trump's promise. President Trump has promised we're going to secure the border, which we've done to a large extent. But we're at 96% decline on the border. And he promised we're going to prioritize public safety threats and national security threats, illegal aliens in this country. And that's what we're doing.
So,
Boston, I said at CPAC, they're a sanctuary state. And we're going to come, and despite their sanctuary status, we're going to bring agents there, and we're going to take these worst of the worst off the streets.
So, Tom, just to get into some of the specifics here, so we got these folks that had already been charged with this. What your agents were asking, keep these guys behind bars, and we'll go pick them up. But many of these criminals got charged, and they were released back on the street, right?
You're absolutely right. One case I looked at, Lawrence, one case, there's a child rape. He was released 2 years ago without on our retainer. It took us 2 years to find this person. So how many children did he attack in the last 2 years? All we're asking for is let our agents in the jail when you lock somebody up. And let us arrest them there when you're done with them, rather than release them back in the public and making a public safety issue out of it.
Tom, now that you have these guys in custody, where are they going?
Catching out, and we'll deport one of them. We're going to stand by the president's promise to decrease illegal alien crime in this country. We're not going to wrestle every illegal alien public safety threat, every illegal alien national security threat will be eradicated in this country. That is what we're doing. We're going to get it done.
This is what the governor of Massachusetts has said. Governor Healey said this. Massachusetts is not a sanctuary state, and Massachusetts law enforcement regularly partner with the federal agencies, the federal law enforcement, to keep people safe. We are ranked as one of the safest states in the country. So, Tom, is it a sanctuary state or not?
Yeah, it is, and we just proved them wrong. The mayor of Boston said I was lying under oath, and I was lying about her city. Well, we went to that city. We went to surrounding counties around that city, And you look what we did in 5 days. We got a lot of work to do. We're not done. We're going back. And I said we're going to keep going back until every illegal alien from the state gets removed. Now from Massachusetts, from the country. We're going to make this country safe. President Trump made a promise, and we're going to keep President Trump's promise.
Tom, there's been some pushback about the flights going overseas. Will the flights continue? Will these people go back?
With the Alien Enemies Act, we're going to let that play out in court. I'm not an attorney, but DOJ's taking that out in court. But in the meantime, I've said, we're not going to stop arresting Venezuelan TDA members in this country. And if we can't remove these hideaways, then we're going to detain them until this case is over. We're going to arrest them. We're going to take them off the streets. We're going to keep our promise. TDA has been verified as terrorist organizations. Them and MS-13. They're a designated terrorist organization. Those two flights carry terrorists out of this country. We're not going to apologize for it. We think we did the right thing. We followed the Aliens Enemies Act. The president simply invoked the authorities he has in a statute or federal law, and that's what we did. This administration is following the law. We're using the law to make this country safer, unlike the last administration, who not only ignored the law, Lawrence, they violated the law with misuse of parole. We're making this country safe again, one illegal alien at a time. We're going to keep doing it.
Tom, I know you've been doing this job over 30 years amongst Democrats and Republican presidents. There was a judge that talked about the treatment, and they said something I think you're going to take great umbrage with. This is what the judge said. Watch.
The point here was that there were plane loads of people. I mean, it's a class action. There were plane loads of people. There were no procedures in place to notify people. Nazis got better treatment under the Alien Enemy Act than has happened here.
Is that true, Tom?
No, we follow every procedure within the Aliens Enemy Act. Maybe we just need to read that act. We did the right thing. I'm not aware of every single case, but I've been told by highest levels in ICE that every one of those Venezuelans on that plane was TDA based on hours of investigations, anywhere from criminal investigations to wiretaps to witnesses statement. They put a lot of effort in this, and I've been guaranteed that every one of the Venezuelans will remember TDA. And again, they're a designated terrorist organization. And I'm sick of these radical judges. Why don't they talk to Lincoln Riley's family? The working processes she had. Protect our sources. We got to protect the confidential informants that have given up statements to us. So this is what we do. We do it well, and we're going to keep doing it, Lawrence.
Yeah, it's an entire criminal enterprise that's paying for these guys to get out. When you start talking, then the criminal knows what you're going to do, and people die as a result of that. You guys are doing a great job. Tom, thanks so much for joining the program. All right, now to this. The Trump administration is invoking the state secret